Thank you, Ms. Thomas. Please send him in. It's hard to believe that corporal punishment in the form of spanking is still being used in almost half the states which make up the U.S. A majority of these states reside in the South, Mississippi being in the lead for incidents of the manifested investigations and lawsuits. According to the Department of Education, in 2009, close to 1.5 million nationwide spankings were reported. The U.S. still believes that physical punishment is still an effective way of disciplining in schools. In 2004, Canada outlawed the use of corporal punishment in schools, and many years ago it was outlawed throughout Europe. In the U.S., the ability to use corporal punishment rests with local and state policy and will remain so until federal legislation prohibits and abolishes the practice. According to an HRW-ACLU joint statement in April of 2010, corporal punishment should not be used as a form of disciplining students in schools because physical punishment is detrimental to a productive learning atmosphere, can lead to long-term social impairment in youth, and in some cases led to more children with disabilities or of ethnic backgrounds being singled out and being disciplined more than others. Corporal punishment is not a new method of punishment. It has been around since prior to the birth of Christ and is still an accepted form of punishment in private and public schools in 22 states. Jim Holt with the Rocky Mountain Telegram published a recent article involving corporal punishment that was brought forth to the U.S. House of Representatives in February 2010 that involved a 16-year-old Mississippi high school student by the name of William Childress that was paddled for looking at pictures in class on a cell phone in 2009. The cell phone was passed to him from another female student class. The 16-year-old was paddled, she was not. The suit claims that he received unfair treatment and was punished because he was a male student. Williams sustained visible bruising and swelling of the buttocks area and was unable to sit and attend class for several days as a result of the paddling. The fact that this student was not able to attend school due to his injuries would surely prove that corporal punishment disrupts the learning process that schools are a basis for. Nearly 75% of all students receiving corporal punishment are male students or students of color. That would also suggest that corporal punishment is a gender, race-biased form of punishment. The website Kids Count Alaska in April 2010 defined the word abuse and neglect and states child abuse and neglect happens when parents or other adult guardians hurt or endanger children in their care physically or mentally or fail to protect them from such harm. Since this boy sustained swelling and visible marks on his rear, this institute constitutes a definition of physical abuse, while under the care and protection of the school that he was attending. The basis of the lawsuit states that the use of corporal punishment is unconstitutional. Our government is allowing and legalizing the abuse of children. By currently allowing physical punishment in our schools, we are not only encouraging the use of violence as a form of punishment, when there are other more effective alternatives. It is not legal to abuse your child at home, so why is it acceptable at school? Corporal punishment is proven to cause other emotional problems within children, especially children with individual needs such as autism. A majority of schools in the South mix special needs children in with the non-handicapped children due to the lack of resources. If you have a large classroom with one teacher that has no experience with special needs or no patience, then that child may get disciplined more than the other children, which in the case of autism will only make that child crawl more into their shell and isolate themselves even more and cause even more trauma to their condition. Schools are for learning. A student doesn't need the fear of being physically punished for doing something wrong, especially if it is something that they can't control, like a handicap. There is absolutely no proof that corporal punishment leads to better control in the classroom or that it is an effective way to control behavioral problems. Behavior cannot be corrected with a spanking on the rear, especially if the behavioral problem is a result of a handicap or a learning impairment. The fact that a majority of children being physically punished in schools due to a medical or mental handicap would support the fact that the ACLU is constantly investigating these types of complaints. It would clearly prove that these kids are being singled out, and that is a huge concern. That is also a reason why corporal punishment is not allowed in mental institutes or prisons. If they are not allowed in these types of facilities, why are we allowing this type of punishment in our schools? Physical punishment in schools can lead to other problems such as lack of respect for authority, regular participation in school, fear of learning, and that there is no other way to solve a problem other than through physical punishment. Right now, the United States is encouraging the use of violence to correct behavioral problems in our schools. Schools need to be more influential in teaching students an alternative to physical punishment through the use of self-discipline, which is reinforced with positive rewards for doing well. The word fear should not remain in our schools through the use of corporal punishment. Many parents that spank their child at home will disagree with the fact that corporal punishment does not belong in schools. Effective discipline includes prevention and intervention programs and strategies for changing student behavior. changing school or classroom environments, and educating and supporting teachers and parents. Until the federal government prohibits the acceptance of corporal punishment in schools, your child will continue to get abused instead of educated. This is the United States, and we are supposed to be the leaders for others to follow. Right now, the rest of the world has done away with corporal punishment. Now it is our turn. Please support a federal ban on corporal punishment. Thank you.